Welcome to the Karina Loren Show. I am, of course, the Karina Loren. And today I'm super excited because we're kicking off a new series called The Secret Life of. And I'm starting with The Secret Life of Lawyers and happen to be interviewing some of my favorite people in the world. And guess what? They are lawyers. On today's show, I have actually a very special guest as my co-host, Mr. Jordan Carter. He is a New Zealander. If you're trying to figure out his accent, sorry, I ruined the surprise. He's a New Zealander living in Canada. I know. Who does that? Who makes that decision to move from New Zealand to Canada? He did. And Brian King is the managing partner of King Law. This is a law firm spanning 18 locations throughout North and South Carolina. Brian focuses on family law, bless his heart. And on to the good stuff. This man has 4 children. So basically, he created his own entourage. And Mike Allen is my other special guest today, and he's a senior attorney at Mallard & Grodner in Indianapolis. And he focuses, on business owners in litigation, employment, and transactional matters. Mike has spent most of his career working as a trial attorney, and actually Brian has spent much of his in trial as well. And so that's where my questions are going to be focused around. Seriously, if you are thinking about becoming a lawyer, you're in law school, you're a junior associate, or just new to the legal field and you want to know more, stay tuned. This is an incredible interview. I will say that we pretty much just jump right in. There are no fancy introductions. I know Brian and Mike and Jordan quite well, so we just kind of roll with it. So stick with us, and I'd love to hear your comments or any questions that you would have. And if you're also interested in being featured in the Secret Life of series, please reach out and let me know what your idea is. I'd love to hear from you.
What we're dealing with here is a total lack of respect for the law.
Let me ask you all a very serious question. If you had the opportunity to go to school at Hogwarts, knowing all we know, would you go?
Without a doubt.
Oh God, yes. I mean, why would you not go? I mean,
I don't know.
There's a risk of death.
Voldemort and the trolls. I mean, I would go too, but it seems risky.
Defeating the evil wizard, saving the world, that's right up my alley.
Just so you know, I'm not one of the feature characters. I'm an extra. I'm just walking around like, man, that guy's Voldemort is gonna get that guy. Anyway, what's up? No, I'm just walking to class.
That's true. Good. Yeah, just one of the sideline characters,
exactly.
Not one of Harry Potter's friends who's like, let's go right into the thick of it.
Exactly, that's not for me.
We've lost Mike to figuring out a technical problem.
I can see him fast typing Google, like, God.
I am crazy.
He's gonna be like, why'd she have to book this on Zoom? I hate Zoom.
Well, you know I hate Zoom.
I know. But I don't like Google because I can't filter myself.
Right.
This is my show now, Mike. Okay, my show.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, this is just gonna be casual chat where finally I get to ask the real questions I want to ask.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. All right.
Yeah.
I'm getting water. I'm ready.
All right. I'm getting water. I'm ready. That means you're not ready, Brian.
It's like on your marks, right? It's not really, it's not go time. It's just
on
like.
Your get set, get ready, what is it?
On your marks, get set. Get sad. Yeah.
Get sad. Go. You're not going to win.
Do they not have that in Canada? Do you guys not do stuff on 3?
It's go all the time.
It's just always go.
Okay, if you do paper, scissors, rock, are you
did you say scissor?
Did you say paper, scissors, rock?
Yeah. What do you guys say?
Rock, paper, scissors.
You start with rock.
Scissors. It's plural too.
Clearly a rock start.
RPS. What is going on?
Rochambeau. Okay.
Rochambeau is also acceptable.
Paper, scissors, rock. So I've been saying it wrong apparently.
Okay, fine. I'll download Zoom. God, I hate
you. My God. When you do rock, paper, scissors, are you rock, paper, scissors, and you do the result, or are you rock, paper, scissors, go?
It's on the third. It's not beat and then go.
It's 3. Yeah, you go
Yeah,
on
like
the third.
paper, scissor. Sorry,
And
rock,
I have
paper.
I have 3 teenagers. I feel like an expert.
I am an expert in winning paper, scissors, rock.
Every decision comes down.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there a psychological trick to that, or?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not going to tell you my secret because then you might beat me if we ever compete. But I basically get into the mind of the person I'm doing it with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel like anybody that starts with paper,
Oh my
it's
God.
kind of a weak. It's a weak opening. Now, I mean, I get it because you're going for the rock.
Yeah. Okay. Top secret. I do start with rock every time. It's best out of 3.
Like,
I feel like people like to go. Yeah, maybe you're right. I go scissors. I'm a scissor fan. I'm like scissors.
the problem with
That's it.
scissors is like I think a lot of people go to rock because their brain can't change the hand. So go with paper first, possibly try to stun them. I don't know.
Yeah. Plus, if I bamboozle people by saying, let's play paper, scissor, rock, they're
Oh,
thinking
you've got them thrown.
she's going to start with paper.
Yeah, she's going with paper. I feel like that's
the take right there.
I feel like you come across as an amateur though. You know, like you don't really name it right. They probably sense some weakness.
It's fine. It's fine. You know what? That's all smoke and mirrors, Brian. Have you ever, let me ask you this. Have you ever gone into court and acted like an amateur just to be like, boom, I'm not an amateur. Surprise.
Normally, I pretend later that was my strategy. You know, like retroactively, I was trying to fool you by just looking unprepared, like I didn't remember if it was 6 or 7.
Right.
Actually, that was my plan to make you think. Brian didn't prepare for this. He didn't go through my questions. He may not have read the email at all. Later on, you're going to be like, oh, he just wanted to lower the expectation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm all about
reality
lowering
is,
expectations.
you know.
Yeah, lower those expectations. Okay, I have a question because Mike, you had said something to me. Well, first of all, hold on, let's do a check-in. How are you feeling now that you've downloaded Zoom? Vulnerable?
Not good. Not good.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You went through all the way through to November of 21 to download Zoom. Wow.
He's got to take a moment. It
is. I mean, that's a late give in.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a lot of Google Hangouts, but yeah, it's like.
Yeah, it was very early on where it was.
Okay, I'm now getting a notification. Karina meeting today at 6:30. There's no half hour time thing.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what's happening over there. North Carolina.
That's true.
Okay, so Mike had told me at some point that on the day of a big trial, he won't eat. Do you
That's a
have
mistake.
So do you have like a plan of attack on the day of trial for eating?
Yeah, our judges occasionally like to play the I'm a little tougher than you game, which is usually played by when are we going to go to lunch or when are we going to pee. And so there is a strategy that you want to set out in terms of your day, because you don't want to peak. You definitely don't want the big lunch. So if you don't eat the breakfast, you sometimes could overindulge in the lunch, and then you got your after lunch kind of blues going on. But primarily my goal is I have the little 6-pack crackers. That's my weapon. That's my weapon for mediation. That's my weapon for whatever. I like the orange with the peanut butter in the middle. I feel like that's a good go-to.
Big support by Mike there. I see that.
Man, I can't tell you how much that is the universal secret weapon. It is the 6-pack of crackers
Yeah.
And if I'm feeling really good about how things are going, I may have a Coke with that.
Yeah.
But usually it's
Oh
water.
yeah, I like it. You pump it up. I mean, you look across, you pull out your crackers, and you see like the first year associate, like kind of look at him, like maybe he'll share with him. Hell no, I'm not sharing with him. As all
Well,
6 are going in,
Those are only
I'm actually
6.
going to stop
There's
them
only
in
6,
front of you.
and there's not like 2 or 3 packs. It is 1 pack of 6 crackers, and that's it.
Nope. You go, that's a rookie over there on that side. Now, you might have called your client and told him, hey, that mediator's notorious. Pack it going on through. You might want to be ready. So, I love it when I got my 6-pack of crackers, my client reaches in and grabs an apple or something kind of loud and crunchy.
Yep.
And we're going to like really stress out the other side because I'm crunching. I got my Coke, maybe, a little caffeinated. And they're sitting there with the now warm water bottle that the court reporter left in the morning. So have fun with that. We're ready to go all day.
That's right.
And do you find they have
that
to
is a flex.
do they have to speak over your crunching of the apple and the crackers? Is that also like exuding more energy from
Oh
them?
yeah, with every chew, you're basically saying like, we ain't moving.
That's right.
Pretty clear.
Especially with the
Our
peanut butter, you
position
get
is-
that peanut butter on top of your mouth. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll ask you a question, you'll give them the.
Oh, even better. Really good is when you've got them, and then you leave the last cracker just sitting there.
No.
Yep.
It's like a tease.
Yeah,
With that little
maybe.
plastic
No.
line of
I'm going to
peel
eat that
on
one
it, just
later.
leave it right there.
You
Have
can
you
just
had-
leave the one.
has
They're
you-
not going to take the last cracker from your cracker
Nope.
thing. They're not going to do it. They're just going to look there and drool.
Now, have you branched out? Because, and I just came across these, because usually I'm hitting these at the gas station on the way to court or mediation or whatever it is. Like I got to get my crackers.
I think
right?
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Okay. Have you hit the new ones that are the peanut butter and jelly crackers?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's sweet. Because it's got a little sugary to it.
That's
yeah.
Gives that extra
It is
bump. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like talking to a mediation ninja here. I mean,
If there was a small, youth group or something with a little bit of a table outside the courtroom selling these, they'd go like hotcakes, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
I mean, like
actually,
with the
not only that, we probably buy the kid out just because I look.
Gotcha.
yeah,
Jordan,
dude, here's
on my
$20.
strategy.
Get out of here. I want
That's right.
everyone else to
I don't
suffer.
need those. You could, you could keep them, go home with them. I got my 1 pack, but no.
Yeah. Identify the other people coming in. If they want any, also tell them you're sold out. Make them hungrier coming in.
Right.
Oh
But
yeah.
that is a
yeah.
ritual though. That is hitting that pack of crackers. And I remember back in the day kind of being, a young cub at this, and you get to that lunchtime, you're like, well, where am I going to go eat lunch? Where are you going to do this? And when you're kind of a first year, you go and you actually have lunch. And boy, that's a rookie mistake, man. You get that food in your stomach and the stress.
2
and everything
o'clock's
else
going to be a
and you are
painful moment.
useless.
You're just not feeling it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. That is painful. And when the other side gathers all their stuff up, like they're going to go to lunch, you got them. You got them.
Oh
It's
yeah,
over.
yeah. And so like,
It's
well,
over.
we're willing to just stay here. I think I brought some crackers. Damn you!
They brought
Yeah,
crackers.
yeah,
They're
that's
serious. We're in some big trouble.
I mean, it really is. I mean, they make an offer to you. You look down and you're like, you pull your crackers out. Like, no, like we're so far apart. I mean, I'm thinking about, what the next 3 hours are going to look like, because we're
right.
not going anywhere.
Okay,
Yeah,
now
I love this.
I've got the opposite to this. So I did a mediation once, and this was I call it a business divorce. So it was a bunch of partners in a business, and they were going to split up. And we had done, I think this case ended up having 3 rounds of mediation. And these were all day, all night, like working till 2 a.m. mediations. These were big ones. And so we're in there in the first one, and I felt bad because the clients couldn't hang. They couldn't hang with the crackers. It gets 11:30 at night, and they're starting to look around. Like, can we get delivery in? I was like, no signs of weakness. We're they were hurting. So so they had, I'd been through mediation before, so they didn't know what to expect. And that's on me. I probably should have prepped them a little bit better for the siege that is mediation. So we go to the second mediation. They show up. Now, the first one, they're all suit and tie, dressed up, whatever it is. We go to the second one. They show up, hooded sweatshirt, hooded pullover sweatshirt, these like house shoe slipper things. Okay. And this guy, these are, captains of industry. These are owners of a multi-million-dollar business and stuff. He pulls out a gym bag. And I just kind of looked at him because it's like a duffel bag, kind of like old school with the zipper down the middle, the round ones. And he just looks at me and he says, I learned some things from the last mediation. I'm not making that mistake again. And I'm like, okay, so you brought like workout clothes. What's going on here? So the dude just starts pulling out food, just pulling it out. Okay. And it was for, he had like, and I'm going to mispronounce it, I can't say this word, but like a charcuterie board.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
He pulls the board out with the knife and he starts cutting stuff up, making like the thing. He's got like the full salami. He's like cutting strips and he's making the board while we're sitting there. Cheese, grapes, crackers,
That's awesome.
all kinds of different cheeses. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Then he pulls out a Bluetooth speaker and sticks it in the middle of the table, turns on music. He's like, is a little reggae okay? Turns it on. He's like, if we're going to be here for like 12 hours, we're going to have a good time, boys. And just starts handing out food. It was unbelievable. We ate like kings. We didn't decide a thing, but we had the best time.
That is well prepared.
That was pro
That
level.
is,
that's
that
the
is
other
getting
end of
your
the
client
spectrum.
ready.
I want to
love
see
it.
that.
And you got to see it, the progression of it. I love it.
Oh yeah. And then the mediator comes in and he's like, what are you guys doing in here? It's like, hey man, if we're here all day. We're here all night. We're here.
Yeah.
We're ready. We're not moving. Can you imagine going back in the other room?
Party.
Can you imagine going back in the other room and be like, boys, I don't know what to tell you. They've got a freaking smorgasbord going on in there. They're listening to reggae. They got Bluetooth on, and he's wearing a sweatshirt. Like, you guys are in trouble here. Like, this is.
Oh yeah. I love it. You're right. That mediator's like, I'm going back in there.
I'm going in that room.
Yeah,
I'm going back.
Hang out.
You guys work out something here. I'm going to go back. I think there's one more thing we need to work on that side.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. I think they were getting ready to barbecue. I'm going to go down there. I'll be back in about an hour.
Yeah.
Let's start smoking brisket.
Okay, so question for you. Can you tolerate law shows like Suits or Boston Legal? No? It's a no-go?
Law and Order.
Yeah,
Law and Order?
I can watch Law and Order.
It's difficult, because I had a wife that was a surgical tech, and she didn't want to see any kind of medical show. I didn't want to see any legal show. Basically, we had no television. I mean, it pretty much ends at that moment, because neither one of us can believe of anything that goes on. Actually, my problem is it's just too real. When they hit it, there a lot of times it's like, oh damn, that really is exactly the way it is. We just had an attorney retreat. I'd say Suits. It's kind of like a level down, I'd say, from where it was. Yeah. Really? So yeah, I would definitely say in general, hard to watch TV. Maybe with the exception of Night Court. If you ever see an old Night Court episode, that actually somebody figured it out. That's a little bit more what it's like. For the most part, no, not gonna.
Did you see that they're coming out with a reboot of Night Court?
No.
Yes, I read about this the other day. It's the actress that was in, and I can't remember which one she is. She's in Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
Not the one that lives across the hall, but the one that's married to Howard, I think.
Okay.
I think that's who it is. Anyway, she's going to be Harry Stone's daughter, that takes over his court.
Oh, that's
And then they're
awesome.
bringing back like some of the other characters are coming back. And it's going to be a reboot. I heard. I don't know if this is really happening or not. Maybe just be making this up. But that's what I heard.
It just struck me as being, because it's the same. I mean, because what I see in a small town is the same lawyers represent, and the clients are the ones that switch out.
Yeah.
So that in night court kind of got that right. And so, yeah, that's much more accurate to what my general life is like. And a lot of our offices kind of handle it, what we call it here, a district court practice. Just your common judge may handle a divorce in the morning, a felony in the afternoon, and somewhere in the middle, a few emergency hearings. And that's sort of the format. The whole TV shows with one case, one client. I mean, God, it just seems so awesome that they get to do that.
Right.
So
and resolve it in like an hour.
Yeah.
That's what we like. We like to see things sewn up in a short period of time.
Oh,
that's right.
Exactly. Okay. What about Judge Judy or Hot Bench?
Nope.
Those are real cases, guys. This is real TV.
Not since Wapner. I gave up after Wapner was done. I was done.
Who the heck's Wapner?
Judge Judy actually stole one of our cases.
People's Court.
What?
We had a case ready to ride, and it got transferred to Judge Judy. They found the litigants. Judge Judy is binding arbitration, is what that is. And if the parties agree to it, then that becomes your arbitrator. So we got, a letter in the mail saying Judge Judy has taken over your case. And we were generally happy about it. We immediately got it. Like, yeah, we got that. And, why that was the case to go. I never saw the episode or anything, so I don't know if it, how it played out in terms of that. But yes, Judge Judy stole one of our cases.
He can just do that. To anyone? Just like we can have your case on television.
I think. Look, in North Carolina, if you offer somebody $100 and a signature from Judge Judy, they'll pretty much do whatever you want. So, yes.
Good to see.
I mean, what I love about Judge Judy is she's so rude, but to the point with people. Like, you stop talking. Do you ever deal with judges like that, where they're just like, no, enough?
Oh yeah. This week. I'm in trial, and one of my associates is trying the case, and I'm sitting second chair, and I've been on it for a while, and because I don't know how exactly wide this video might be, I won't say the name of the attorney, but let's just say that he definitely fits North Carolina. I mean, the tight on top, curly in the back, and he was getting a little aggressive with my client, and I knew it. We've gone through this or whatever before, and I just know it. He's trying to get under my client's skin. My client, it's not going to take much, right? So he's going at it, and says he looks at the witness after doing it. Says, like, "Is it my turn to ask a question?" And I look at the judge, and the judge rolls his eyes at me, because we had 500 cases together before he became a judge. And now he's been a judge for 10 years. He's our chief. He kind of rolls his eyes and like, "Don't object, Brian. I'm going to give him one more swing at it." Does it again. "Is it my turn?" Stop. That's the big thing. We're going to talk about respect in the court. And I mean, the attorney looks down. He said, like, "I'm not putting you in jail yet, but we're going to change our line of questioning." And of course, my client starts to gloat a little bit, and it goes, whoop. The attention flips back to my client and be like, "Oh no, you're not handling this any better. You're going to answer his questions he asked. He's just going to ask better questions. Now let's proceed." So, after at our next break, I then have to go for the obligatory. We walk up, and now counsel wants to apologize to the judge because now he's trying to get the judge to toss back to the clients that have paid us a lot of money that he hasn't pissed off the judge to whatever extent. And I have to say, like, well, we've all been there. So, and I have. One of my best friends became a judge, and I remember her telling me, Mr. King, you slam your fist against that table one more time, and you're going to find out what it's like to spend a couple of nights care of Chris, which is our mutual friend, who's the sheriff in the county. So yes, I'd say that all that is absolutely, accurate.
Dang, they can just threaten to, I'm going to throw you in jail.
Oh, our attorneys get thrown in jail. Yes.
What?
Yeah. Oh, I am not privy to. How often is this a reoccurring kind of?
Once a year, I'd say, from where we are. That usually another judge will come and commute the sentence, and everybody will get a strong talking to.
Cooler heads will prevail after everybody has a chance to calm down.
Yeah, one of our judges. I'm in mountains of North Carolina. It's pretty wide open. One of our judges was like, you guys are just going to have to fight this one out, and I'm going to step back. And we came back in, and everything's torn up. It happened.
Like as in, like gym class rules. Is that what you're getting at there?
Gosh, it's not uncommon where I am for the other attorney to say, let's meet in the parking lot. And you're like, well, I guess I'm going to have to get my ass beat. So yeah,
we are much more civil here in the Midwest than those crazy Atlantic coast states. We're much calmer and more reasoned here. I didn't have to talk to an associate yesterday about how we weren't going to fight with opposing counsel because they were maybe getting into each other's space a little bit during a conference yesterday, and some heated words were exchanged. So everybody, cooler heads prevail. Everybody calm down.
Run.
That's the kind of folks that go into this line of work. You tend to have some folks that they run a little hot, and you get a couple of those in the same courtroom on the same case, and it's a hot case, and yeah, everybody gets a little upset. So, it's a style, it happens. I've sat, and not me, but I've been in courtrooms where folks have gotten, where a counsel's gotten put in timeout, and you can usually tell how upset the judge is by whether it's like, hey, so-and-so's in contempt, take him out of here. Bailiff takes him out. They go sit in the hallway and talk for a second. Everybody calms down and bring him back in. Well, they didn't run him through and book him into, he's not in Gen Pop. He doesn't come back with like the shoelaces out of his shoes and like, a little bag full of his stuff, right? They go back and sit down. But when the judge is really pissed, they'll say something to the bailiff like, I don't want him hanging out in the hallway with you guys either. He's not coming back. Get him out of here. And then it's like, Mom's really mad.
It didn't work out well.
Yeah, you've gone too far.
Yeah, like, man, I gotta walk you all the way across the street. Like, wow, this is gonna suck, and it's like it's one of those things. But that's really few and far between. Around here we have we've got some judges that are pretty good at moderating they're not shy with their signals. If they think you're getting out of bounds, you're going to know it right then and there. And most folks have the good sense around here to read that signal loud and clear and be like, okay, I'm going to maybe change up what I do here a little bit. Not everybody, and they, what's the phrase? I don't think I can say it. I'm trying to be respectful of your editing skills. I think it's FAFO. I think is the phrase. Yeah.
What?
And
do you all know what this means?
Yeah. Google it. And some people FO quickly. So
So, Mike, have you ever done this because you didn't bring your crackers along one day? Have you ever thought, I'll just go outside and I'll find my way out somehow and grab a snack and come back when everyone...
Maybe I may have taken a break and gotten, find myself a little convenience store to chill out in for a minute or two,
Yeah.
get a good breath and come on back.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, I've never been told that if I, continue what I'm doing, I should probably get a toothbrush while I'm out. I'll need that for tomorrow. It happens. For me, it was more when I was newer and trying to kind of make a name for myself and was fighting maybe a little bit harder than necessary in situations where it wasn't necessary. That's just, I just didn't know. And I thought, well, that's being the zealous advocate. That's looking out for my client. And then it doesn't take you too long to figure out that you get better results, more mileage, more respect, more whatever it is, if you can rein that in. Not always super successful with that, but it's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had the same, because I'm the same way. I've got associates, and this past week had an associate who is decided to file a default against one of the other attorneys.
Yeah.
And this is
Didn't
a really
call him
tough.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a really puts us in sort of the senior partner into a difficult one, because what you run into is a younger attorney, like I said, trying to make a name in it. You're not as cynical, you're still believing your clients. There's still a lot of things that you're kind of putting into you, and you believe you have a zealous representation, and they're right, because the older attorneys will try to bully them a little bit, test them a little bit, so they want to pinch back.
Yep.
And so I get these emails or text messages, or sometimes the old stop in the courthouse, like, I need to talk to you about one of your associates, Brian. Like,
Yep.
So you get put in this little pinch because you've worked 50 cases with this attorney, and now your associate, who you have to back up to a certain extent. I mean, that's an important piece.
Yep.
And it becomes a lesson in really just human relations, I think is what it comes down to. And it's tough, because I'm sure you want to tell your attorney, look, you're right, and I don't want you to back down because of what I'm about to say, but we can't get in their faces. And, we're not, like you said, you want to be productive, but then you have to turn around to the other person and say, and I mean, that's what I did. I called the other attorney back and said, like, I'm not going to have him withdraw it. I'm not saying that you're not going to get this motion dismissed, because he will. They're not going to default him.
Right.
There was some reasoning in it, and there doesn't have to be much more than just, we're not going to do this to each other. But that's where you run into issues is rules, and it happens.
Okay, so let's rewind back. You finished law school, and then what? You join a law firm as an associate, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're young.
Yep.
What happens the first time you're representing a client? Like, how? I can't even imagine the nerves behind that, where you're standing there for your first time in court. And do you have like a senior partner beside you? Like, is someone backing you up? Are you there alone?
I got a great story, Mike, if you want to start it.
No, go ahead, go for it.
All right, so I'm brand new associate. Now, back then I was coming into Rutherford County, North Carolina, where I grew up. And I think it had been about 7 years since there had been a new associate in the county. Okay, so I'm new, and there's a little gap, and there always will be, because just kind of the way that it works. So there's this gap, and so I'm like the new kid on the block, and I'm gonna set the world on fire, right? I mean, I'm gonna show these old guys, like, I've gone to a law school that's known for trial, for doing trial work, and so I'm going to do it. So my first experience is on the court-appointed list, like a lot of young attorneys. So the older attorneys, they don't want to deal with this. But every attorney has a right to counsel. Back then, there was no public defender's office. When you became a new attorney, they just put you on the list. I mean, you really didn't have much of a choice. So the judge would say, you're going to get these cases. So my very first one was a hit and run case. All right. So I am like super pumped up, and she comes in and she tells me that she left, but she didn't go that far. She just went, she lived real close to there. She was going to wait for officers from her house. And I'm so new. I see Mike laughing. I mean, I'm believing this stuff at this point. I'm like, well, that makes some sense. But that's not. I'm not. I don't go that. I go much further. I go and I'm like, well, let's just go take a look, because that's just down the way. So we go out and take a look. Now this is before cell phone cameras and things like that. You can edit that out on how old exactly I am. But we take real pictures. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, back then you took real pictures, and I did it like 360. I mean, no kidding. Like you could see the entire intersection, and I've got it laid out. Now this is district court. Okay. Now I can't describe to you the overkill, what I've just described to you, what I've done, but I am now in court, and I'm in front of Judge Fox. Now, Judge Fox not only looked like General Lee, but he actually reenacted as General Lee. So when he, like I said, I'm in the South, so we, we refight the Civil War all the time here. So he, has the full grays. He's got the white beard. He's got piercing blue eyes, and he writes with a ink pen that you dip in. How he writes. So he's looking and looks like he's paying attention and just writing away. And now I'm going to show my illustrative exhibit, to the court. Well, the attorneys around me are starting to gather around, and I'm like, well, my God, they must be. I mean, they're really learning a lesson. I'm doing fantastic. So I finished my presentation of my client, which, in general, you don't put your client up, but I'm new, and I'm like, well, she's so believable. I'm going to put her up. Yeah, I'm serious. I know. This is a
Mike,
good
your
story.
face is telling it all.
I'm dying.
So here's all my pictures. Here's all my stuff. The district attorney, who I have great respect for. I mean, at age 33, after 9/11, he volunteered to go back into the military, and he jumped out of airplanes. He was 82nd Airman. He looked like at any moment he was ready to go to war. I mean, you're talking about an Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of looking guy. And I look at him like, hell, I've just won this case. I mean, enough said. He says, so Judge Fox, turns over and says, Mr. Solicitor, because he always used the more proper word. Do you have any questions? He goes, Nora says, yeah, I got one. Ma'am, actually, it's not even a question. Can you stand up and turn around? I was so enamored by my poster, I didn't really look to see what my client was wearing, because it looked like just a white t-shirt. You may remember during this time, there was t-shirts called No Fear t-shirts. And on the front, it just said no fear. And on the back, it had little statements, different things, like must be tough to live life without a spine. And, just like little funny things to attack. She turned around in my hit and run case and revealed her t-shirt. Been there, wrecked that.
No.
Was the t-shirt she decided to wear. Judge Fox didn't even ask for another question or closing arguments. Found her guilty in the moment. And I learned that all my years of law school and all that preparation means nothing at all. That's the way court actually happens. Yeah, it was a really good, solid lesson for me in every way. And that's the way, I've learned that trials can go.
That is an incredible story. I can't believe how quickly he won just by asking her to turn. Just Could you just display the t-shirt you're wearing?
Ma'am, if you have that bad a judgment to wear that to court, the court will take judicial notice that whatever you did was criminal. That's all he did.
Wait a second. So it is purely based on, I guess, an assumption on what they're wearing. That's it.
Yeah, it was a bad decision for her, probably for the court. And let me tell you, there was no repeal to that. Everybody agreed.
So have you asked people to change? They've turned up to court and you've said no.
Oh yeah, it became a big, yeah, from that point forward, you realize that I am, as it turns out, you do have to tell them. So yes.
I mean, not only tell them, but I used to keep an extra jacket on the back of my door, not for me, but for my client. If, you know, they come showing up wearing a t-shirt or whatever, I put a jacket on them before we go in to at least do something. I had somebody stole it, but I had a little clip-on tie that I would get them, and it didn't matter because it's about, you know, this long or whatever, but I could get the clip-on tie on them and have them button that jacket. It looked like they had a tie and a jacket on to the judge. So we'd be okay. And so, yeah, I used to carry that. If I got over to the courthouse and they didn't have it, I'd throw that jacket on them in a little clip on. And then one of them ended up walking off with my clip on. And so,
it's too good. What about you, Mike? Like, what was your experience like fresh and new?
I mean, so mine was, it was a little weird because I got to, I worked as a clerk at a law firm from my first year of law school through graduating. And then when I passed the bar, I worked for that same law firm. So, so I had gotten to, and it was a trial lawyer firm, did personal injury defense. And so I had been able to go to trial and go to hearings and see how that worked with someone who was just amazingly experienced, very, very well respected for his trial skills in the county and surrounding area. And so got to learn from him. But he was, and I'm sure you've seen this too, you know, generational, it has definitely changed on what you can get away with, what you do, your style, whatever. And this was, you know, he was still the tail end of kind of the old boys club where, you know, a lot of stuff was done on handshakes or agreements or, you know, hey, if I told you about it before we went to trial, that was what it's going to be. You don't file motions. You don't do, we argue it in court and that's what it is. And so I got to see that. And there is a substantial amount of chicanery that comes along with that. There are the tricks of the trade. And so at a early spot in my career, I got to kind of learn from the master about, hey, these are the tricks of the trade. I won't say I'm able, because I don't know that anybody could emulate that stuff, but what it helped me do was I noticed that in others. So I'm able to notice and see, oh, wait a minute, I know this trick. Hang on. No, we're not doing this, you know, and I can kind of catch the other guys doing that easier because I've seen it all before. I got to see it like from behind the scenes. So I know the tells, I know, oh, well, he's doing this. And so that really helped me out a ton. Kind of learning my way around the courthouse and how things work and how trials work. You know, my first time doing it myself, though, I mean, you know, there's a million things going through your head. You absolutely overkill everything. I mean, you know, you're going for a small claims case and you got your catalog case and it's full and you got your evidence book, you got your, you know, all your forms, you got every, you know, and it's like, you're not going to need any of this stuff. But I mean, you are packed for bear. I mean, this is going to be you know, the 6-day small claims trial over $500 of, you know, farm feed. And by God, you are going to win that thing 50 times over. And, you know, it's as easy as something like you look at it, they hold up a piece of paper to your client, like, did you sign this? Like, yep. Okay, judge, he signed the contract. He owes the money. I mean, and you're like,
yeah.
So, you know, it's like that. So I got to do some work there. And then I went in-house with an insurance company. just to do litigation for them. So I did in-house defense litigation, and that was fantastic because it was just how often can we send you up? How often can we send you out on the case? Like go all the time. And I was eager. So, if there was any, like, hey, we got a case, I'll go, send me, let's go. And so I got put in timeout a couple times where the managing attorney would come down and be like, okay, you're in timeout. Like, no, you're not doing 50 new cases. No, you're going to do like 2 and you're going to do good on those. And then we're going to give you another one and then another one. Cause I was raring to go. And yeah, and it's just, it's amazing. In your first couple of years, it's this roller coaster of like, you get out of law school, you pass the bar and you're like, I know everything. And then you had your first case and you're like, I know nothing. And then you do the next one. And it's like, oh, I do know everything. And no, I still know nothing. And it's just that roller coaster of it's just skill and emotion and everything. And what I tell people is, that never goes away. If you're good at this and you want to get better at this, that never goes away, where you're like, I know I'm doing pretty well. I don't know anything. I'm doing pretty well. I'm worthless. That I wasted 20 years of my life because I don't know what I'm doing. That happens all the time. But what I tell people is the further you get down the tracks, those hills they're not as big anymore. They're just ripples now. There's flat spots where you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. This is okay. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But man, when you first start out, there is just these massive hills of I'm the best, I'm the worst, I'm great, I'm useless, and it's funny now having associates and talking to them about that because they're going through that. And I try to impress upon them, like, I remember what that's like mostly, getting to the spot where I'm starting to forget a little bit. But I remember what that's like, and that's normal. And I know people told me the same thing when I was there, is that it's normal. That's what happens. That's how this works. And of course, I didn't believe them. I thought they were crazy and just trying to make me feel better if I was doing terrible in my mind. And then in my mind, when I knew everything, I thought, well, they're just jealous because they don't know anything and they're trying to
Great. That's great.
like they're trying to bring me down. They don't know anything. I'm crushing it. When you guys mean it happens, it doesn't happen to me. And then of course you fall off the cliff, right? So I'm just trying to, impress upon them that this is normal. I remember this. Everybody goes through this. This is fine. And of course they're doing the same thing I did. Like, he's just trying to bring me down. Oh, he knows everything. Oh, he's terrible. And so I don't know. It just kind of keeps coming around. So for what that's worth.
So, I mean, you maybe already answered my next question, which would be if you could go back in time and give your law school self some advice, one sentence, what would it be?
I can get down to a word. Just relax.
I mean, I could tell you that today.
Today, right? just when I came out, I wanted it all day one. I wanted all of it first day on the job, and that's not how this works. And so I think if I could go back to my other self, would be like, hey, be hungry, be aggressive, go out there and get that, but maybe don't beat yourself up as much if it's not all there day one. Save some for day 2, day 3, day 4. This is a career. This is a long-term thing. And plus, if I wasn't still learning things and having new experiences with this, I would have quit by now. I'd be bored. Okay, it's the same thing over and over again. There's nothing new. So for me, it's been, I'm gonna try a different kind of case now. I'm gonna work on this. Oh, there's something new going on. Okay, let's do this. And so I've been able to, I've been pretty fortunate in my practice to be able to do that, to kind of keep interest. So I think I just tell myself that hey, there's a whole lot of stuff in front of you that you don't even know about yet that's going to be super cool and fun. So just relax, it's coming, and just go for it.
I love that. Brian?
I probably would lean that way, or say embrace your mistakes, which is another way of saying it. But since you grabbed that one, I would just say it's all about people. Would be what I would say, is that when you come out of law school, and I don't fault the law schools for this. They're doing what they should do, because it's hard to recreate what you do learn in those 3 years in terms of what the law is and what those things are. But in law school is all about hypotheticals, and it really dehumanizes the law, which is important. I mean, because the law should apply to every person equally. So the person going through that, by definition, should not be the determining factor.
Right.
But real life is about people, and what might be a good result. I could get the same result for Karina and Mike for a trial, the exact same result, and Mike could be ecstatic about it, and Karina, you could think I'm the worst lawyer in the world.
Yep.
Because it is about the people and where they are. And I don't think that that's something that we learn enough in court. And honestly, even now, I learn that every day. I mean, Mike's talking about this huge corporation that he was talking about in that mediation. But in the end, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's about a person. When it's Tesla versus state of California, it's still people. That's at the heart of that, and I do think that it's just something that I feel like every day I learn a little bit more about that. That in general, it's all human, and when you get that, I think you do start taking a breath. You do start doing the other things. So that would be the one thing I would go back to myself and say, like, look, it's about people. Pick up the phone and call them. Whether it's the attorney, the judge, everybody's a person.
I don't even, and I can tell you that when I left law school, we had is my favorite prof, and I'll call him Uncle Doug. And man, he was by far the oldest prof at the school, had been there forever, he had seen things and done things. I mean, he knew stuff, and he knew the law, front, back, center, up, down, whatever. And the thing that he kept beating into our heads and would just, pull us aside and have a conversation with us. But it was always, it doesn't matter. Like, none of this stuff matters. At the end of the day, you have to be a good person. Just be a good person. Take care of other people. Look out for others. Just be a good person. And that's that. He's like, after that, if you do that, everything else take care of itself. And, we heard this. And of course, Uncle Doug's crazy, old man's talking, what I mean? Like, nobody wants to hear that. But, now I'm where I am, I'm sure Brian knows this too, is that really is it. I mean, that really is the key. I mean, yeah, you got to know all the other stuff too, but at the end of the day, that's what you have to do, is just be a good person and take care of people. And that means different things in different circumstances. But that's what you've got to do. I tried to explain that. I was speaking somewhere, and I tried to kind of explain that concept to some folks. And the way it came out, and I'm trying to remember if I can remember this, but I basically was telling them, like, it's, there's because I got a little pushback on that. Like, well, sometimes you got to be aggressive, you got to be this, you got to be that. And the quote that I came up with was something like, well, it's good to be good, but if you're good when it's not time to be good, then that's no good. Mm-hmm. And people staring at me, and I don't even know what the hell I was talking about.
I think I understand.
But you know what I mean? Like, there is a situation where, like, yes, you've got to be good, and it's good to be good. But if you are the nice guy when it's not time to be nice guys, it's time to be aggressive. That's no good. That's not good for you. But you've got to be a good person. You got to come back to that, So basically it was the cop out of, yeah, if everybody's being nasty, it's time to get nasty, then you got to get nasty. But that's a thing. That's not who you are. That's not how you treat people. I got to do that to deal with this. But then we're going to get back to, I'm going to be nice and be good. I'm going to look out for people, whatever. So, I'll work on that. I'll get that out. That's like a Yogi Bear. That's like a t-shirt, right? Like I'll get something on with that.
That's deep.
a keychain.
There's probably a no fear t-shirt you could probably
Oh
put in
my
there. Let's bring them back.
I kind of feel like, Brian, you need this t-shirt.
Yeah.
I do. I
You
do. I need
do.
the
to make that
t-shirt.
happen.
Yeah.
It's not time to be good. You know, that's
It's
what
not
I
time
It's not time to be good. No fear.
no fear.
Oh my God, it's so
I will
true.
I will turn over every Goodwill and t-shirt donation store I can see for the next couple months and find you a no fear.
Oh, guaranteed they exist.
Look, the 90s
somewhere.
are back. I mean,
Ah,
let's turn this stuff back. I mean,
Oh my God.
it's the right time.
it's
Mom,
the, it's
you
time.
guys, mom jeans are back.
Oh,
I know.
How is this happening? Like, is there a world where people go, wait a second, was this even a good trend when it happened? Like, it's just on a churning cycle, and it just keeps. Oh, it's awful. Yeah, not a fan.
It's a shame. I
Oh,
really
for me.
wasn't cool in the 90s, and now they're coming back, and I'm still not cool.
Yeah,
You know, so it's just
it's just yeah. Okay, pop quiz. Do you guys iron your own shirts?
Not anymore.
Nah.
Not anymore.
You gotta find a good place that takes care of them,
Yep.
and you know, and I tell you, if you what I've learned is if you find a good cleaners, I mean, a small town like me, guess who goes to cleaners? Cops, every business person. So you do good, you give them a good tip, they bring your clients back to you. So
Look at you.
you know, it really is, and you start learning. That's my opinion on life in general is I do believe I'm a damn good lawyer, and I do think that I'm good at running a law firm. I'm good at almost nothing else. So
You've done well.
so let the people who are good at it do what's good. Do what they're good at, and pay them so they will later come to you when they need you.
It's brilliant.
Yep.
Have you ever yelled objection to your spouse?
I don't think so.
Well, it's time to start. Seems like a fun thing to do.
I'm going to stipulate that I am not here to give any advice for marital relations. I do a lot of work on how to minimize the damage when it's already done.
That's
good. I do a pretty good
preservation.
job of that.
Yeah, don't put yourself out of business.
No, I give myself plenty of business.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, is there a song that you listen to get yourself pumped up?
Ooh. I listened to it today.
What is it?
It's not safe for work.
That's fine.
It's a song called "Their Law" by the Prodigy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a jury trial because you have to remember that we had about 1.5 years of no trials, and it was a tough time for us trial lawyers to deal with. So we went full Monty whenever we as best we can whenever we're in, and I have some fantastic lawyers that I work with, and we had a trial in a little town called Banner Elk. It's a great little vacation town, and I mean, let me tell you, when lawyers it is the most vulgar rap you can come up with, as loud as you can. You just crank it up. I mean, we had our 2 associates in the back, and I mean, they were mortified that these 2 old men are just going to crank up. And I mean, we just say like, look, it's on. I mean, and let me tell you, you would have thought either trial lawyers are coming in or the Bloods and the Crips are about to
True.
And I mean, we just crank it all the way up, and that's the way it is. And you go in, I mean, you are charged up, and that's pretty common. And then we come back, it's probably going to be a little, we're probably a little country felt kind of like because you got to bring yourself down a little bit after that. So It's a pretty wide variety on the, on the iPhone.
Love it. Do you find that you have that crash after, like, is there so much adrenaline running that
we were
you're high
talking,
and then
we believe, because I listened to a podcast about chess players and how these grandmaster chess players lose about 10 pounds during a chess match. It's an excellent podcast, by the way. And I'm convinced it's that same thing, because you have to remember, and it's hard, I think, for other people, spouses or other people, to kind of realize that. You remember, in a trial, when Mike's in a trial, there's 27 objections that he can make that have to be objected to after the question and before that witness answers. So at all times, you are so intense on what that question, because there's the objectionable part, although sometimes what they say leads into objection, but in general, you're objecting to that question, and you have to do it before that, and it's multiple, it's assumes facts, not in evidence. I mean, there's so many different things, hearsay, and there's so many different variations of what that would be. You were so intent. I mean, honestly, there are things like fire engines rolling by the courthouse, or a train comes through, or things like that you don't even realize is going on. I mean, I've had a seizure in the back of the courtroom with somebody, and it is hard to kind of snap out of it in that kind of quick, because you were so intense during a like an expert witness testimony or something like that, where you have prepped for months sometimes, to get ready for that. No doubt in my mind, you are drained, and it also becomes more like it's like a high school exam. You get intense. I mean, one time I learned every kind of pavement. Asphalt was part of the case, so I had to learn every kind of asphalt that should have been. And immediately after the trial, it dumps. For a while, I could have told you what I-4, I-3, whatever kind of different asphalts were, and just like, and every trial lawyer will like, yeah, you become an absolute expert in a field, and then as soon as the trial's over, you dump it like a high school exam. But if you've ever, you've taken the SATs, you've taken something like that, you might get a sort of a sense of what a trial is, and it really is that kind of emotional, especially when we're at that high level.
Well, and it's even to add on to that, it's not even that there's objections that you have to make. You got to make a judgment call on, is this, I could object to this. It is wrong. Does this help my case though more? Do I want them to keep going? Because I want to use this later. So I'm going to let them go. I could absolutely object to this and keep it out, but man, this helps my case. Or, while you're doing that, you're getting your exhibits and your stuff ready for cross-examination, or they said something that you want to that you want to hit them with on cross, and so you got to find that document where they said something else and remember where that is, and then you've got your client leaning over to you, whispering in your ear, asking you a question or saying, "Hey, remember that's not true because of this," and you got to be like,
"She's lying. She's lying." That's
right.
Like, the way you should have to practice right here.
And so all this is going on, at the same time, and you're just, you are so amazingly dialed in on just everything that's going on with that. And then in your brain, you have packed in every possible fact or knowledge you could have about this subject area or whatever. And I know we just talked about, like, okay, during trial, I'm pretty much eating like a sleeve of crackers and that's it. But even considering that, I always lose weight. I always lose an appreciable amount of weight the week of a trial coming out of that. Always. I just, you burn it out. You're
going to have a headache. I mean, you just walk in and you're like, okay, it's because you're going to start feeling it, and you're going to have that headache because something's going to happen that you're not ready for. Next week, I'm teaching a CLE about all of the preservation of evidence you have to do for the for the Court of Appeals, because on top of everything else, even if that judge is absolutely ruling against you and you think it's wrong, that this case is heading in the wrong direction, your audience is not only that judge, but the appellate judge court that's going to look at those cases, and they're going to say, Mike, why didn't you object then and preserve that for appeal?
Yeah, you waived it. It's over. It's gone. And you've got to make that judgment call at the time, like live. You've got to make that judgment call before that witness opens their mouth and starts talking.
Mm-hmm. And, so with the strategy component, I mean, all of those things are going on. So you really are at that level. And I would say that my brain function is so high during that time. It's a wonder that I even are able to drive home, because you suddenly realize.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, I've gotten out of a court and I've just sat in the car for a minute, because it's like, I don't know my name right now. I can tell you anything you want to know about that case, but I can't tell you, like, how am I driving home? Which way am I going? Where the hell am I? I mean, it just takes a minute to kind of dump that out and kind of get back to, like, okay, I'm back to being a normal person or whatever. And if you're in a multi-day trial or whatever, usually you're headed back to the office. You're prepping for day 2. You're not going home, going to bed. You're not going to go to dinner. You're just right back at it. You're just like, okay, dump all that. Here comes day 2. Let's get ready. And some of these trials go on for, a week, 2 weeks, and you've just got to do that. Now, I got good advice when I was starting out doing this, and I did a lot of work with a senior trial attorney, and what he told me was always take the day after trial off. I mean, you can go to the office and tell some war stories and tell people how it went, whatever it is, but don't schedule anything. Don't expect you're doing anything. And for God's, don't make any decisions. Like, just don't, because you can't. You're just not equipped to do that. You need just a day off to do nothing. So, I usually bring all my trial materials into the office. I'll figure out what I got to keep, what I'm going to throw away, what's going on, sort all that out. I clean. Nothing that requires any kind of legal thought whatsoever. If somebody wants to talk, I'm like, schedule the call for tomorrow or next week or whatever. But I've been pretty religious with that. And I try to encourage my associates and other partners to do that too. It's just, you're useless after a trial. You're absolutely useless, which is good. I mean, you should be, because that means you kind of, you left it all in the field. But we don't.
Well,
we don't.
I mean, I have a trial coming up right now. I know it's February 14th, and I just found out my daughter has a volleyball tournament in the end of that week. And you already are thinking, Mike, because I want to be present for that, but I know what I've got to do trial wise. And I know right now, I mean, I've got 3 expert doctors that are going to be testifying in that case. And I know how crazy those kind of things are. I will think about that through the holidays. I mean, that's the kind of thing that goes on. I mean, because it becomes that intense because there's so many things that have to lock in together for that to happen. And I already know, like, to tell, Madison, like, okay, that week is going to be a trial week. I will appreciate the volleyball going back and forth, but I may not be present at that moment. And it's things like that. It really is intense.
So have you ever jumped on Reddit and anonymously given away some information or helpful tips, or steered someone in the right direction?
I deliberately, and this has been a struggle for years. I deliberately will not get a Reddit account because that keeps me from doing it. I can't. It is the ultimate. There's somebody wrong on the internet and I have to correct them, right? And so that is my line in the sand. That is the line I will not cross. I do not have a Reddit account.
I do not either. We have a partner who does.
Yeah.
So we allow him, because he's the one who will just occasionally text us and say, buy GameStop and things like that, because we've learned to trust him on it, and we all do. And then he rarely steers us wrong,
Yeah.
but he has the right ability to be able to do it. He was an athlete, and is able to kind of deal with it. I am the same way. I mean, I cannot go down the road because every trial lawyer I know is obsessive compulsive. There's not that you'll never see a trial lawyer that just runs 5Ks. I mean, there's they're going to be a marathoner. I mean, there's no they have no moderation. So that tends to be the nature of the personalities. So yes, we do have that at the office just to cover it, because that's just we have to be relevant. But I'm able to sub that out along with ironing shirts.
Nice. Which kind of follows on.
And I'll read it. I love watching the train wrecks. And there is we have a local Reddit that is actually very active amongst some legal folks here in town, that I won't necessarily out, but it's not too hard to figure out who they are. And it's just I'm
entertaining.
It's something. Yeah, it's entertaining. It gives you, I think it gives you some background knowledge. You kind of get kind of the dirt on some things, and kind of see which way maybe some of the political winds are blowing on some issues or whatever, just kind of what your neighbors think and stuff like that. But no, I Twitter is about as far as I'll let myself go as far as the socials are concerned.
Well, but I will say another place that it comes up that you might be interested in, Jordan, is in that same trial I was talking about, where it had several attorneys involved because it's a big case, and it will be headed back to the Court of Appeals for the second time now. But I had two law students in the back, and as jurors were being called up, they were going through every social media account. And the Reddit to determine what their opinions are. And they are sending me, as I'm going through questions, it's popping up on my computer, all of the social media that they're cutting and pasting. So I know all of the background and every comments that they've made.
Wow.
Reddit is like a dream for me.
Yeah.
Because to be able to get what really is going on with that person. So if you can tap into that as a juror comes up in a big case like that, I mean, literally, as I'm asking questions in voir dire of the jury, I'm generally not. I don't want them to know that, because you don't want them to realize how deep we've dug, because we've already done their Facebook when we found out who the jurors are.
That's table stakes.
Yeah.
But as they come up to that level, and like for this year in trials, as soon as it is, I want to know what they were posting on January 6th. Because that was the Capitol riot, and there was a lot of posting going on at that point, and it gives me a good tenor about how they're going to think, not just about my case, but COVID protocols. How are they going to look at the way the judge is handling the case during this time? Are they going to isolate themselves back whenever the judge says we're going to go back to the jury room? So these are kind of things that are going on a level that is, like I said, even down to the jurors that we're selecting.
Wow. So I imagine
you get called for jury duty, get ready.
Exactly. I imagine you've the rise of TikTok, that you've even delved in there and probably, got an impression immediately.
It is, and that's why you have to have law students do it, because they're the only ones that really understand how to do that searches. But they're popping it out great, and it's fascinating on how much volume of information I'm able to get on something like that.
Quick. Yeah.
Well, and you get it too from trying cases in small towns. When we go out, when I get out kind of in the hinterlands, and it's a smaller county. If I know somebody from there, I call them up and I'm like, hey, tell me about these family names. Tell me who this is. Tell me who that is. And they'll give me the scoop.
They'll know,
like,
if they'll see the road, they'll see what road they like. I don't know that person, but I know that road. My personal favorite, I've got a lady who she ran a restaurant and she retired, so she knew everybody in town. But so I would just send her the jury list and she would just bring it back and have all her notes on it, just handwritten notes, on top of it. But my personal favorite note she wrote on it
teachers. You get their teachers.
But one of her notes was, he's gay, but his wife doesn't know. I mean,
wow.
I said, with this is the info I can get on a juror, this tells me a lot in terms of about how close it is. I thought that was pretty good.
But also, you don't want her on the jury, right? Because she knows everything. She'd impact everyone's decision.
Oh my gosh. No, if we couldn't put her on the jury because she doesn't just know all about the case. She knows all my secrets and the judges. we don't want her near a courtroom.
Exactly.
But no, I will. If I can find a school teacher in those smaller communities, one of the ones that have been around forever, she knows everybody. She knows everybody's kids. She knows their parents, their parents' parents. She knows the whole thing, and they will dish. And that's also the same reason that I never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, put a school teacher on a jury, because they know everybody's backstory. That we're in a small town, and it takes them a while, and it'll click, and you can almost see it when it clicks. If they're on the jury and you're asking a question about something and they're answering or whatever it is, you can almost see it when she's, the school teacher will be like, man, I know this kid. I know this kid. I know this kid. I know this kid. And then it's like, oh no. And you can almost, like, you can hear it like in their head, it clicks. And you're like, oh, we're in trouble now. Like, uh-oh. So never.
Wow.
They know too much.
They know too much. Who would have thought the teachers? But it's a really good point.
Yeah.
Teachers are doubly bad because not only do they know too much, they're used to enforcing rules.
Yep.
True.
So it doesn't matter if you have a good story, because teachers deal with good stories all the time. They have to
all the time. They've heard every story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course they have.
Yep.
Well, I could continue asking you guys questions for the next hour, but I know that's not reasonable. And you know how reasonable I am.
Very reasonable.
So reasonable. So fair. All right. I really appreciate you too. And you, Jordan. Thanks for being my co-host today. Let's do this again. I mean, I'm just saying it because I just want to hang out with you guys. I won't film next time. We'll just get together and hang out.
Let me
after
be a
after a
co-host.
trial, right?
Yeah, let me be a co-host on some. I mean, your topics are fantastic. I mean,
yep.
I thought I knew who you were, Karina, but I had no idea who you were. Now that I've watched a few of these shows, with my jaw just kind of dropped, I'm like, I'm so boring compared to the people you know.
Wait, what shows? I haven't seen any shows.
Oh, you're gonna have to see. I mean, it was fantastic. But anyway, I would be good for like a makeover show.
Yeah,
or
you would
like home decor, maybe a shopping one. Hey, let's do food. I'm open to any of those. So anytime.
Let's do it. And also, I did shame my dad, Brian, because my dad was like, I've watched all your shows except for the makeup one. And I said, really? Because my client, North Carolina, he watched it. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was shocked. I've never watched a makeup show. I know they're popular on YouTube. But when I was like, oh, my God, she's going to do it. And you started putting dots all around your face. And I was like, that's what it starts like that every morning.
I know, it's crazy. I had never done anything like that before. So
well, I was super impressed. I had never met a medium before. I mean, I feel well educated. So
yeah, Mike, you're missing. I interviewed a medium. It's all over the place.
It's a lot. Like I said, I apologize to your viewers for being just a regular dude. I mean,
no, this is actually so exciting. This is the start of a series. I'm going to do the secret life of fill in the blank. So
yeah,
wow. You guys are the first. I picked lawyers first because You're fascinating.
You're around.
Yeah.
You're around a lot of
Starting
them.
off strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only going to go uphill from here.
Bottom of the hockey curve. Or
it's
hockey
really,
stick.
it's really good.
It's-
I mean, it's
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. See you
Okay.
guys.
Hey guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.